Hi, this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. Sunday chat today may be interrupted by very loud workman noises. They're putting some cables in the road or something or other, and they have to dig a big trench through the tarmac, and they use an angle grinder to make nice neat edges to the trench, and it's loud. They've stopped for a while, so I'm hoping they've finished the bit they're doing. It's been very loud. First of all, before we start, there's a new video on the gardening channel if you'd like to pop across and see that. Something a bit unusual, well, two lots of unusual really. Anyway, that's there if you want, and if you get over there and you're not subscribed, it would be very nice if you did so. And yeah, I mean, the gardening channel is progressing. It's okay. It's doing okay, given that it's winter and there isn't much to film at the moment. But the videos on the gardening channel will probably mainly consist of now new things, new growth, new blooms, first time blooms in the garden. We planted an awful lot this year in the garden that was never there before. And the video over there now has got the first one, the first bloom of a plant that didn't exist in the garden before. Now it does, thanks to Carol. So you can pop across and have a look at that at your leisure. And talking of leisure, my weekend, which was our Orchid Society's Christmas lunch, leisure, was fraught with a few problems. But not problems that are serious, just problems that niggle at you. And the first one was rain. We've had well, as you will see in the gardening video, we've had a lot of rain lately, and we had an awful lot on Friday and Friday night. So consequently, I set off to pick Hannah up on Saturday morning. And the amount of water on the roads was absolutely ridiculous. You know, you must have had things like this where you're driving along, you see a big puddle and there's a van coming the other way and the van throws all the water over your car and you can't see a thing. Wipers are going like that, trying to clear it quick. Because you've got a few seconds where you physically can't see. You have to just hope that it's a straight road and you're steering in a straight line for a couple of seconds. I mean, the road from here to the town where I turn up and turn off, I would normally go onto the dual carriageway, but to go to Hannah's I carry on up the A road. And I mean, the police were at the end of the road issuing snorkels to everybody. Say there was a lot of water about, but yeah, it was ridiculous. And some of it was pretty deep as well. And in this country, the real downside of standing water on the roads is they hide the potholes, because our roads are in a terrible state. They've been allowed to get like that over many, many years, and they will probably never be good again, because roads deteriorate. You know, over a period of time, the surfaces sort of start to crack and break down, water gets in, blah, blah, blah. Well, it's like the Forth Bridge. Painting the Forth Bridge is a joke used to emphasise the fact that some jobs can never be finished. And painting the Forth Bridge apparently is like that. It's so big, there's so much ironwork that by the time you get to the end, it needs painting at the other end again where you started. So it's a never-ending job. And that's what our roads are going to be like. They will never ever be good again, because as fast as they can do the repairs, other bits will break down and there'll be more potholes, which damages tyres, bends wheels and costs motorists an absolute fortune, for which we get tax. We have to pay tax to use our wonderful roads, and that tax is supposed to be able to maintain them. Well, it isn't. So the same question applies across the board in this country at the moment. The 5th or 6th richest country in the world. Where's all the money going? Because I haven't got it. Right, yes, so my drive up to get Hannah was a bit fraught with disappearing under waves of water and heavy rain as well. But then on the way from Hannah's over to where the Christmas do was, the roads first of all were much better, and the sun came out and the weather cleared. So by the time we got there, we didn't have to get out of the car and make a break for it to get to the door because it was chucking it down with rain. Did take an umbrella just in case. Now the Christmas do, we at Wessex, we have a do-it-yourself Christmas do. We have a professional caterer who is our catering manager, and with some helpers from some willing members. They did Sue does all the cooking, our catering manager. She gets everything organised, she does the shopping, works out how much of everything is needed for the number of people, and gets it all in, gets it all organised, gets it cooked or heated up, whatever needs doing, and then with some willing helpers, it's served to us. It's a bit like a bit like Joe's cat. You go along with your plate, slop, 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 slop. I'm joking. It's very well done, and we had a very, very nice home cooked style Christmas lunch. We had everything you could want. We had the turkey and the stuffing and all the different vegetables, nice roasties and things. It was very nice, and that was Hannah's first Christmas do at Wessex. She'd been to the Bournemouth Orchid Society Christmas do several times in the past, but I'm not a member there anymore, so we obviously don't go to that one. Yes, so it all went very well. It was good stuff, and so that's done for another year now. That's how those sort of things go, the once a year things. And I used to have two, now I've only got the one. The Christmas tie comes out, to try and look smart-ish. I don't really do smart. What do you mean you noticed? Damn cheek. But I don't, I never have. My work in life, in my IT career, apart from when I was at the base, that was sloppy Joe's in the base, jeans and t-shirts type thing around the office there, because we didn't see our customers while we were in the home base. But I spent most of my working life with customers. It's a suit and tie job, and when you retire out of that environment, you just sort of think, blow it, I'm not doing that anymore, so I don't do smart. Except for weddings, funerals and the Christmas do. That's it, that's your lot. Yeah, but it went very well, I was well pleased. What else? There's not much else going on really at the moment. I haven't heard about the tree, but there again the quote hasn't been with the agent that long. I presume the guy did put a quote in. You do get some people who work for themselves, they're just not professional. I've come across people like this. They come to represent their company, which is often a one-man band or a guy and a mate or something like that, and they do a quote and they go away and they have no intention of doing that job. They've taken a look at it and they thought, I don't want to flip and do that. So they either put in a ridiculously high quote that's never going to get accepted, or they just don't reply. So I'm hoping this guy doesn't come into this category. He seems like somebody who's young and thirsty to get a business going and get a nice name for himself. He gave me that impression. So hopefully he put the quote in, and if he did, it ought to get accepted without question because it is a nice low quote. But I haven't heard, so the tree still stands, thank goodness, and will do for a bit yet. It might not even get done before Christmas, but I really would like to see it gone, and to have it gone before Christmas would be great. Now, Carol did make a comment which is very valid. I hadn't thought of it. She said, I hope they don't damage all those plants that you've planted. And it did suddenly dawn on me. The first thing they're going to do is get up the tree with ropes and stuff and start cutting the branches off. And they'll lower those down with ropes. Well, they're quite big. If you had to take one of those branches from the front of the house to the back of from the back of the house to the front of the house, how would you do it? you'd grab hold of the thick end and you'd drag it, wouldn't you? Well, if they drag those branches all across the gravel beds, they're just going to mash those plants to bits in that area. So all I can do is tell them not to. Please stick to the paths. If you're going to take stuff from here out to the front, please carry it and don't drag it. I can only ask. But if we lose a few plants, then it'll just have to be, so be it, they can be replaced. So we'll have to see how that goes. But yeah, still going on. The birds on the feeder are not here. They're still not here. I've got my regulars, which have always been here since I first set the feeders up. There are a set of birds that visit and they're always there. The ones that disappeared and didn't come back last winter still haven't come back this year either. So we still haven't got goldfinches, the long-tailed tits, and the woodpecker's only been here twice. You know, just literally 2 visits and gone again. So there are some birds that ought to be here that just aren't. I've only ever had a couple of greenfinches, and that was a one-off visit. They were there once and once only and never came back again. Perhaps I need to change the menu. Anyway, I mean, there are birds on the feeder all the time. You know, there's regular visitors coming and going, so it's the entertainment value's there. Just the variety, you know, ought to be a bit more really. But, so that's that. As far as what's going on out here in the grow room, it's next to nothing. There is some watering going on, some very low feeding going on now and again. And if you think about it, my potted plants, they're on about anything between an 8 and a 10-day cycle. Well, you know, that's only a couple of times a month, isn't it? And that's how it will be until we start getting the higher daytime temperatures and the longer days come back. Now, I am using my lights. Now, we've just had 2 days with no lights on because we got back from the Christmas do on Saturday after dark. Well, no point in turning the lights on like that, is there? And the same yesterday, I had to take Hannah home, so I didn't get home here till sort of 8:45, 9 o'clock in the evening. So, so that's 2 days with no lights on. And yes, I am going to get a timer. I actually ordered one. My last lot of shopping, my home delivery, I had a timer on the list, so I would have had one when that shopping arrived. Apart from, before I committed to the list of that shop, I had a look at some reviews and there weren't many good ones. They were all pretty bad, saying couldn't get it to work. Worked for a couple of days and then stopped working. The clock kept going wrong and things came on at the wrong time. There were a lot of bad reviews, so I cancelled it and didn't get it. But I have ordered one which should be here this week. When my shopping comes this week, it should be in there. And it's a mechanical one, as I call them. They're based on a disc with little slots that move in and out. And they're the trigger. So they're mechanical. You know, there's like something behind that where one of the slots has been set, it goes into where the slot was. So it's a trigger. So they're mechanical. So they can't really go wrong. Well, they can, but nowhere near as fragile as something with lots of programming and stuff going on, like the other one was. So that should arrive this week, and I will set it up so that the lights come on every day and are automatic, and I don't have to worry about them. Because there have been times when I've fallen asleep in the chair, and the lights have stayed on far too long. You know, I'm trying to get a regular day length here. To keep things growing, those that wish to. This is very difficult. I've had people asking me, are the lights having any effect? It's almost impossible to tell, because I can't compare with what it would be like if they weren't there. I've just got to accept that, you know, hopefully they're doing some good. But in the not too distant future, probably just after Christmas as we get to New Year, they'll be wound down. So they'll be not there basically, and then the grow room will experience winter, so it will get the short days. I mean, the temperatures won't change much, it will still be cool in here, and then I'll leave it like that into February. And then once we get well into February, the sort of time when the day lengths start to show that they're getting longer, you know, as soon as I can tell that the day lengths are getting longer, then I will reintroduce the lights to extend that day length a bit at a time to get it up to 12 hours much earlier in the year than it would have been if the lights hadn't joined in with increasing the day lengths. The idea being that they'll have had a winter, they'll have had a rest with dull short days, and then it's brightening up. So things should come back into growth. And I might risk changing the thermostat. As I get towards 12 hours, I might start altering the thermostat during the day to actually increase my day temperatures, not the night, just the day temperatures, to go with those longer days. And if that doesn't trigger things into growth, then I have no other way of doing it. So it's got to be worth a try. Men at work. They seem to be doing quite a bit around here lately, but you know, it's men at work on weekdays. You've got to put up with it, you know, stuff's got to be done. So, I mean, if you think about it, when the guys come to do this tree, there's going to be chainsaws going for half a day or more, you know, while they cut all this lot down. And then there'll be a chipper cutting it all up into tiny little chips. That'll be on the go. So that, you know, this place will be the one making all the flipping noise. But I doubt if there's anybody else trying to do videos around here. Well, it might be, but maybe not. Yeah, so that's what I'm up to with the lights. That's the plan. Today is a slightly worrying day because my energy contract ended yesterday and my new energy contract starts today, and my unit prices are therefore higher and my daily charges are higher, so my energy bills increase quite a fair bit as from today. Starts on the 11th, so I'll have to see what the next bill is, but it's going to be bigger than previous bills because the rates have gone up. I've been lucky, I've been slightly buffered against that, but I'm going to get it now. So you can't get away with it forever. We all know whose fault that is, don't we? Again. Right, that's not far off it today, but I do want to go into what will be the next thing going on out here. I mean, we've had this lovely coleogyny. We've had some odont types, we've had 2 double spikes on blackjack. Well, one of those has gone now, there's only one left, but that was the second one that did come out quite a bit later, so we've still got blackjack for a while. The Nobly's going over, and there isn't a lot else going on. There are a couple of Oncidium types with spikes that will come into bloom. And there may be some other coleogynies that will start coming into bloom, but that's going to be later. That's going to be when we start increasing the day length and the temperature again. After we've had the rest, the winter bit, they won't do anything prior to then. My Cattleya cernua has some buds poking out, so providing they don't blast, we'll have a nice small but lovely splash of orangey red in the near future. But the big spectacle that's going to go on in here, that will be mine this time round rather than bought in. I always differentiate between when you buy a plant in bloom, I don't count those because they're not mine. I didn't create those. I didn't look after a plant in such a way that it's managed to bloom. I bought those blooms in, so I don't count those. But this year we've got all of the cymbidiums to come. That's going to be soon as well. So we will have a Cymbidium spectacle for a while, and generally speaking these are long-lasting blooms, so you know, that's going to be good. I'll pick this one up because I can, because it's on the edge here, but this is going to be the first to perform. And this is the problem, if you're going to do Cymbidiums, you've often got to put up with that. It's a giant, you know, it's bordering on 1 metre tall to the top of the, you know, upright leaves, and it's wide, it takes up width, it's nearly 1 metre wide, but then, oh, it's also heavy. We've got these buds to come, and they're just starting to crack. So this will be the first Cymbidium to come into bloom. Within a week, I would say, these buds are going to open, and this will be the first spectacle. And I've worked out a way of being able to see them and display them well, because I can't put that on my display table. Well, I can, but if I do, there won't be room for anything else. And at the moment there's 5 or 6 plants on there, so I've got variety of blooms to look at. I've got one on the floor. So I'm going to use these tables, and I have a third one. I might even get the third one in for display purposes. But this is going to be the first one to open. 2 nice spikes, and a third spike I've just noticed coming up here. So there'll be a succession after these 2. There'll be another one later on. So that's good. And those, you know, that's following a plant that I bought in bloom. It's been repotted by me, so it's now in a media that I've chosen. It's been outside for the summer, which is probably what the cooler nights probably triggered the spikes. And yeah, it's going to be in bloom very soon, so that's going to be the forerunner, the first of the Cymbidiums to come into bloom with my spikes and my blooms. And there will be others that will be very close behind, quite honestly. There's another 2 spikes. The buds are, well, they're showing colour. You get a Cymbidium bud, is it like a uniform colour, and then where the sepals are going to open, you start seeing a change of colour down that join, and you know they're not going to be long before they burst out, which is what we should get soon. So yeah, so we will have a Cymbidium sort of thing going on for a while, quite a while, because there's other Cymbidiums, the spikes are juvenile, you know, they're only a few, you know, sort of 10-20 centimetres long. They haven't even got to long enough to even start forming buds yet. So those are going to be quite a way, you know, down the line before we see those in bloom. So we should have Cymbidiums in bloom from sometime during this week, if not next week. From then, probably till about May next year. Now that's pretty good going. That means, for me, it's worth the trouble. For blooms that good over that period, bearing in mind, you know, I've lost some of my favourite orchids as a consequence of changing environments and moving house, this is a nice replacement to have something to look forward to that's going to be, for me, that good. So there we go. That doesn't mean I'm going to get loads more Cymbidiums. There is a limit on space. Plus, I have to have somewhere to keep them in the garden for the summer months. Now, those of you that might remember, let me just get the camera off for a second. Hang on, let me just have a sip of coffee first while it's stone cold. Right, seasick time. Just want to, just takes me a minute to actually get the screen turned round and get the strap on my hand, and for the camera adjust to the change of light. Right, we didn't get it done because of bad weather and everything was soaking wet, because I was hoping Hannah could help me. All of that staging there has got to move, and all of those pots have got to move for the guys to be able to get at the tree. and the table on the decking and the bench, all of that has got to be cleared out of the way to get that tree sorted. Now, that staging with the bonsai on, with the slats on the top, that one, that type of staging would make quite a good place for the cymbidiums, wouldn't it? And I've got one of those out in the carport, still in pieces and not stained, that I never put together because I've got two of them, because I got the first one and put it together and thought, oh, I like that, I'll get another one. But what happened was I then got this timber and thought, hang on, I can make some different types of staging. And having done that, I sort of had enough staging. I didn't really need any more, so I never put the other one together. So I'm thinking of putting that together and staining it, and then that will do for the cymbidiums for the summer months. And that can go here, or it can go along here, outside the window. Yeah? This area here gets virtually no sun. So you've got the bright light and, you know, some fresh air and everything. And right next to the hose if I need it. So I will probably put that staging together at some point, and that will be, you know, a suitable place for the cymbidiums to go for the summer months. Still got flipping aphids on this coleogeny. And a couple on that bud. So few, it's not worth spraying, because it could discolour the blooms. First spike's gone, effectively. There's one. It's just so few, it's not worth worrying about. But as long as I keep at it, because if I leave it for a couple of weeks without swatting them, then there will probably be a lot. Yeah, the first spike's going over, and the next two are opening up. So we'll have a succession there. This spike and this one are the secondary ones, still got buds to open here, so they'll be open for some time. But this one's the first one, that one's going over. And then this coleogeny will do its thing, where it seems to be growing a new growth that extends, and then it stops, and a spike comes out the top. And then as the flowers start to fade, the leaves start to open, and then it forms a pseudobulb. so that's how that type of coleogeny grow. A little unusual from what you normally expect from plants that grow pseudobulbs. Most plants that have pseudobulbs, I mean, cattleyas, the buds come out the top, often from a sheath, but not always. Oncidiums, the spikes and everything come out the sides at the base. Yeah, so having the spike coming straight out the top of what will become a pseudobulb is a little unusual. And yeah, I mean, I've got this little display area, so I've got some things in bloom. And this is what I do. As things come into bloom, I try and make room from over here. This dendrobium is just too tall. If I put it on the display table, the blooms are so high up I can't see them anyway because they're up in the roof. So this one lives down here for the time being, which keeps the blooms at a sort of, not eye level, but yeah, we still got some more buds to come on here too. There's a couple more there. Another one here, so and they last at least 2 months, the blooms on that dendrobium. So these are the oldest. These are starting to go now. These will drop off soon. These have only recently opened, and then we've got more to come, so that's going to be in bloom probably from when those first buds opened to when the last ones drop. It'll probably be in bloom 6 months. This is good stuff. This is stuff that's worth looking into when you're choosing plants. Is, you know, how long do the blooms last? A lot of people, their first question is it fragrant? Well, that's nice to have, yeah. But if they're fragrant and they only last 10 days and it only blooms once a year, is that good stuff? I'd personally rather have something like that that's got lovely, simplistic but beautiful colours. Only 2 colours there, only white and goldy orange, but that makes those clean lines a stunning bloom. And they last well over 2 months, heading towards 3 months. No fragrance. Well, I'd rather have the blooms over a long period of time, personally. And that's what I look for nowadays when I buy a new orchid. How long do the blooms last, and can it bloom more than once a year? And if the answer is they last a long time and yes, it can bloom more than once a year, then that's good value for me. You know, that plant will earn its keep, and it'll warrant, you know, the effort that goes into looking after them and all that sort of stuff. And the stress when they don't seem to be doing so good. We all have to put up with that, don't we? Anyway, that'll do for today. Sunday chat on a Monday again. That will happen. Next weekend it won't. Next weekend's just a normal weekend. We're going to be heading into the Christmas and New Year period in the not too distant future. Obviously, videos will just get thin on the ground over that period. I mean, Hannah's coming here for Christmas, sort of. She always does. She has been coming to me for Christmas for a very, very long time. But it's slightly different, because this year I've got a son with a baby, because I'm a granddad. Well, I said that ages ago. And therefore, that's a family unit now. Well, family units often have people come to them for Christmas. So to start that tradition, I'm picking Hannah up on Christmas Eve in the morning, and we're going straight to my son Tony's place. And he's cooking for us. So I'm going somewhere else for Christmas, because there's now another family unit. So Hannah and I are going over to join Tony and Abby and little Bodie for Christmas Eve. And then we'll come back here, and Hannah will spend Christmas Day and most of Boxing Day. I'll have to take her back Boxing Day. It's the way the days fall this year. Christmas Day being a Monday, Boxing Day being a Tuesday. There's no days in lieu as far as days off work are concerned. So Hannah's got to be back at work Wednesday morning. So obviously I'll have to take her back Boxing Day, but we'll spend a couple of days. We sat down yesterday on the computer. I've got my food order placed, ready to be delivered on the 23rd. And we went through each meal we're going to have. Right, what are we going to have for Christmas breakfast then? Right, we'll have this, that and the other like that, and put it on the list. So instead of trying to think of the items we wanted for our Christmas and Boxing Day, we did it a meal at a time. So we thought, right, what are we going to have for breakfast? We need this, 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 this and this. Right, get that done. Now, our Christmas dinner, I've already got this, this and this, so we need this, this and this. We just went through it a meal at a time and then filled in the gaps with snacks and things like that. Because that, to me, that's what Christmas is about. It's lounging around with family and friends, or one or the other, or both, or whatever. And I don't really want to spend it all travelling. Yeah, okay, I've got to travel Christmas Eve, and then I'll be travelling again on Boxing Day. But I'll have one day when I can just flake. Mind you, I've got to get the dinner. But it's good because it's been just me and Hannah for a couple of years now on Christmas Day. And we just do it together. We just potter about in the kitchen. You know, we just do it together. And then we sit down and pig it and then flake out. You know, because we always end up eating far too much, don't we, at Christmas time? Yeah. Right, so we've all got that to look forward to. And on that note, I'll do my thank yous. Thanks for everybody who supports the channel and that. And I will put out my understanding for those that have dropped out of the membership and the patrons, because there have been quite a few dropped off. Now, I appreciate, because I'm in the same boat, that everything costs an awful lot more this year, and it's a time when people feel obliged to spend money and join in. And when times are hard, supporting YouTube channels is not the top priority, is it? So I do understand. But yes, the memberships and the patrons have gone down a reasonable amount, actually. I won't say a worrying amount, because there's not a lot I can do about it, and I understand. So don't feel guilty or anything like that. If that's what has to be done, so be it. I'm all right with that. I just appreciate the amount of time you have spent as a member or as a patron. So, you know, thanks again. And as I said, that will do for today. And coming up this week, we will have our 2 regular weekly videos, which is our viewers request video. That will be Wednesday. And then we will have our blast from the past on Friday, where I go and get one of my old days out videos from, well, as much as 6 or 7 years ago in some cases, and just repackage those and post those. Those will be on a Friday. And it's to get, you know, in the depths of winter, which most of us are having to put up with, or a lot of us, it's nice to see a bit of countryside and a bit of sunshine and some butterflies flitting around and some wild orchids and things. So that's the idea of the regular Friday video, just to get us through the dark days of winter. That's all that's for. So I'll be bringing forward another one. Normally Monday would be my day off, but as I'm doing the Sunday chat on a Monday, you get a bonus video, because you do get one on a Monday. As I said, Monday's normally my day off. So Tuesday might be my day off this week. Yeah, you don't get away with it. Everybody has to have a day off now and again. Oh, and I just want to end on a thought. Danny's video that I watched earlier today basically is calling herself, first and foremost, and the rest of us YouTubers, we're all liars. We all tell lies. And I thought, hello, I need to watch this because it may need a comment. And when I listened to it, she's right. We are. Because what we do when we're given advice is we generalize it to suit as many people as possible. Well, for some people, that might not be the right information. So for some people, we could be telling lies. The way she's done it on her video is very good, but it's true. And the video you will get on Friday will emphasize this point. Because it's one of my rare, real elaborate care videos, the one I'm going to put up on Friday. And in amongst it, depending on your environment, there could be some porky pies. But you have to generalize, you know, I try and say that, you know, in my environment, this is how I would do things, and this is how it's working, good, bad, or indifferent. I don't only show the good stuff. And yeah, so sometimes we generalize. Like if somebody asked me, what's the best thing to grow phalaenopsis in? I'd immediately say some nice chunky bark. They need a nice lot of air around the roots, like, you know, and I've just told a lie. Because if you live in a hot country, you won't be able to keep those plants hydrated enough if they're in chunky bark. You'll be watering them twice a day. They'd do better off in sphagnum moss. What? Phalaenopsis in sphagnum moss? Well, under certain circumstances, that could be the best thing for them. Yeah? But if I was the one in the hot country saying, oh, the best thing to grow Phalaenopsis in is sphagnum moss, there's 2/3 of the world would probably start killing their plants if they did that, because they'd stay wet too long and the roots would rot. You see what the point? The point is we tell lies because we generalise. So for some people that's the best thing, and for others it might not be. I try and give the alternatives and why. You can't do it all the time. I'm bound to miss some points now and again, but you know, I first of all say this is what I do in my environment, and you know, it's either working or it's not, and if it's not, I'll probably change something. But I often mention if you're growing outside, blah, 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 blah. If you're in a warmer country and you get higher temperatures, blah, 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 yeah? But nothing's, you know, I always said virtually every environment where orchids are growing is different, and they may need different things to get the best out of those plants. So by generalising, we're telling porky pies, aren't we? I found, you know, the hackles went up when I saw the video calling me a liar, and then when I listened to it and watched it, I thought, yeah, actually you're right. It's a good point to make, that sometimes by generalising, for some people, that could be classed as misinformation. It's not deliberate, but it can be classed as that. Anyway, I'm going to break off now because I've forgotten my joke and I want to go and get it. I can remember the end, but I can't remember the start. So I'm just going to go and have a quick look, and I'll add it on the end. We you know, it's the depths of winter. We've had some lousy weather. Some people got flipping snow and everything. We need a laugh now and again. So I'll go and get a joke to end on. Okay, quick joke, sort of. Not from my normal source, which is why I had to go and have a quick look. Right, apparently old-fashioned girls' names are coming back into vogue. So names like Lily, Rose and Betty, and the older names like that. So when our daughter was born, we decided, well, it was really difficult trying to decide on a name, so we just called her Nan. Apparently she'll grow into it. See you next time. Right, very quick joke this time. I've got a friend who always introduces himself as Stephen with a PH. That's because he's slightly acidic. Okay. Fancy having to do revision to tell a joke. It's not really a joke, it's more of a story with bits in, if that makes sense. Obviously all made up, and there's no reflection whatsoever on the good constabulary in our wonderful country. Back to porky pies again, aren't we? Right, the story. First of all, if you live round here, where I live, or if you come on holiday to the area where I am, and you get stopped by the police, for goodness sake, don't try and be funny. Yeah? They got no sense of humour at all. They can be funny, but you're not allowed. You're not allowed to try and be funny. Okay, I got stopped by the police the other night. They pull in front of you, don't they? Lights going and all that. The first one got out. He's about 14. And they don't come over and say, I believe you exceeding the speed limit. They come over and say silly things like, good evening, Wing Commander. Are we having trouble leaving the ground? Ugh, ugh. Anyway, the second one got out. He's even younger. He's about 12. And he comes over and he says, are you the driver of this car? Well, I'm the only one there, yeah? So I said, well, it's automatic, but apparently I've got to be here if I can. So anyway, they always come in twos because one of them's good at reading and one of them's good at writing. So the next thing is, of course, you know, late in the evening, one of them will stick their head in the car. So the young one sticks his head in the car and says, have we been drinking, sir? So I said, well, I don't know what you've been doing, but I've had about 10 pints. So he says, right, sir, I would like you to blow in this bag and it will tell me if you're drunk. And I said, you don't need to bother with that. I got an old bag at home that'll tell me that. See you next time. Okay, here we go. Guy goes into a scrapyard because he needs a new door for his Ford Anglia. That's going back a bit, isn't it? Ford Anglia. Anyways, have you got a door for a Ford Anglia? The guy said, yes. How much are they? They're £10, sir. He said, well, at the other scrapyard, they're only £5. He said, well, why don't you get one there? He said, well, they haven't got any. So the guy says, well, they're £5 here when we haven't got any. It's just silly, I know.